Dez Bryant. Let's get that out of the way. 12.5 million or thereabouts in the books. Hasn't had a 1,000-yard season since 2014. He's going to be 29. Do we think he's back?
I think he's back. And the reason why I say that is I've had numerous conversations with him this offseason and very candid ones about where he sees his future. Look, Dez Bryant maintains to me that he's a Cowboy for life. Now, I know that there's probably going to be a situation where the Cowboys are going to come to him and say, we're paying you X amount of money and we're not getting the production that we need. Dez realizes that this is a business. I think that you're going to see Dez get approached about a pay cut. And if it's one that respects him in terms, that's important to Dez. If he feels respected in the offer that comes to the table, I truly believe that Dez will take a pay cut and he will remain in Dallas. He feels a sense of loyalty to not only his teammates, but to Jerry Jones. And as he explained to me, he says it's never been about the money. And I think anyone that has written stories or are suggesting otherwise just don't know Dez that well. So I'm not concerned that Dez is going to be wearing another jersey next year. I do believe, and I've said this repeatedly over the last couple of weeks, this thing gets sorted out.
All right. Well, Charles Davis, who has a mock draft coming up a little bit later here, has the Cowboys potentially taking Calvin Ridley at number 19 from where you sit, Jane. And I know we're talking well over 2 months from now on the night of April 26th. Where are the Cowboys looking at 19 or beyond?
I think that, linebacker position would be important to them. We saw just really what happens to this defense when guys like Sean Lee or Anthony Hitchens aren't on the field. Keep in mind, I thought Jalen Smith impressed all of us being able to get out there considering the nature of that injury. But I do think they need more depth at that position. I also think that while they proved that they made some good selections with guys like Xavier Woods and Jordan Lewis and Chidobe Awuzie, I think the secondary, especially with them getting a new defensive backs coach in here, would be another area that they're going to be interested in. I also think left guard is going to be very important for them. Jonathan Cooper had that knee injury at the end of the year. They're going to need some depth there, but I will tell you some good news for the offensive line. I did get in touch with Tyron Smith's camp, and while this is an important guy on that offensive line, he is not going to need surgery this offseason. Instead, he's been going through some pretty comprehensive workouts in California. He's doing things like Pilates and yoga and physical therapy. And he apparently says that his back and his knee are doing just great. So I think that's really good news for the Cowboys and perhaps something now that they'll be able to move on from, in the sense that they're not going to have to address that as high, but you might see them going out and tackling some depth at that position as well.
Big man Pilates, that is a great offseason series we should get going. Tyron Smith back in L.A. doing Pilates. Thank you, Jane Slater, with a divisional fix.